Inv70029D, which means digital ball bonders. And being digital, you have a keypad on this side, and here's your screen. You can save up to I think it's 199 programs. It also has capability of doing ball bumping and single point tab. I will demonstrate the ball bumping after I demonstrate the single bond. The other thing too is it has a the Leica microscope. We'll start from the top here. We got a 2-inch spool of ball wire, gold wire. It's being a ball wire, it has a higher percentage elongation, normally 2 to 6%. It's a little more stretchier than the hard wire that's used for wedge bonding. It's fed through the tube, glass tube, underneath a glass slide underneath here. There's a slide down through the kicker here, and then down through a drag clamp. I don't know if you can see it, the drag clamp right here, and then a little bit lower you can see the clamps. And as you notice here, we got a longer capillary. That's a 0.625 inch long capillary. I do have a picture of the geyser tool that I'm using here. It's the case it came in, so it's the 1513N-15625, which is the LEN GM. So this is the tool capillary that I have installed. And we'll also send along our setup tool, so when you replace the capillary, you place your tool up under there to get the height properly set. It's explained in the manual. And again, we have a work holder here. This has both the capabilities of vacuum hold down by attaching a vacuum line to this this port on the back here. And there's a hole in the center, and that's where your vacuum will be. Or you can use it as a mechanical hold down, which is what I'm doing right now. And you can open and close and put your piece underneath here. Okay, I have program 1 stored here. We'll just quickly go through that. I have a search height. Oh, on these here, you set your table height to loop equals 1 to adjust your height. So at loop equal 1, when you're at loop equals 1, you want to adjust your table, your work holder up, or your work surface up until you just touch the surface, and that will give you your perpendicularity that you need. So what we have here is a search of 1.09, power, time and force for your bond 1 settings. By using the keypad here, I can step through by using the down arrow. If you want to make changes, you use a plus or minus on the keypad. And then here's our bond 2 parameters. That's where you'll set your loop, your tail, and your ball. And then finally, in your mode here, I'm just going to step through it. You can see we're in standard mode. If you want to change it to single point tab, I'm just pressing the minus button here, or the ball bumping. That's how you would change your style of bonding. And then the time is short in this case. It's either short or long. So again, I have this saved as program number 1. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and do a couple of bonds just to show you that the machine is operational. And you'll see that there's a ball that's been formed already. So I'm going to, using the chessman here, you can position your work. I'm going to press the right hand button on the chessman and hold it. So now I'm at search 1. I can reposition if necessary, and once I'm happy with the position, the bond is made. Now it's at loop height. I'm going to step back, or in any direction. With the ball bonder, you can go any direction in the 360. And I'll do my second bond. I'm holding it down at search 2. Okay, the bond was made, the tail was left, and if you notice, the wand fired across and created the ball for your beginning of your first bond again. So I'll go ahead and do a couple of bonds. That's your first bond, step back, search 2, and so I made a bond there. And then you can continue on. I don't know if you can actually see the bonds being formed. Again, this is 1 mil wire. I'll go ahead and do a couple of bonds just to show you that it is operational. One other thing to point out too, if you want to use the manual operation instead of the semi-automatic, you can turn your switch over here on your keypad, the manual button. the light will light up. And then now I can use my lever here to move my head up and down. And I'll go ahead and do a couple of bonds using the manual method. Here you just bring the tool down, the capillary down until you just make contact with the surface. Your bond is made, and then you can step back. Your loop is being controlled by your up and down movement. It gives you a little more control in a Z-axis for doing some bonding. You're manually controlling the head up and down. Okay, I'll switch back to semi-automatic, and what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead into the program here, and I'll just change it. It'll use the bond 1 parameters, since bond 1 is your ball bond, and I'll go ahead and change this to ball bonding. I'll hit enter. There it goes. It's saying new mode is selected, and do you want to confirm that by hitting enter again? It's going to go through reinitialization, and then it'll be set up to do ball bumping using the bond 1 parameters from that program. As you can see, we only have a 1 showing on the screen, and so the parameters stay the same. So we'll go ahead and do a couple of ball bumps. Again, you have a search here, so it'll go down, leave the ball, come up, and the wire will break, and it'll create another ball. And that's how a ball bump is formed. Oh. Okay, right there, there's a, you notice here that we have an open on this side here. This does have an NEFO, which is a negative electronic flame off indicator of whether or not the ball was formed properly. It's either a short or an open. Here it looks like the tail was a little short, and I'll go ahead and try to, by using the manual spark here, I'll push on the, it may be a little too short still. I'll push on the kicker solenoid here and the manual spark button. Alright, so, oh, it sounds like it did form now. Okay, let's try this again. So you can recover from a ball fault. No, it didn't form properly, so now we still have an open. So in this case, what I'll do is go ahead and open the clamp. I'll feed the wire down through the capillary using the test button to turn on the ultrasonics to help it feed through the tube to the capillary. Okay, you probably can't see it, but there's a tail remaining here, a short tail. I'll close the clamp. I'll go ahead and do a manual spark on that, like moving the kicker over and hitting the manual spark button. And a ball has been formed. I'm not sure if you can see that. So I'm recovering from a ball fault. I just wanted to show that operation. And I'll go ahead and continue on with the ball bumping. Setting by adjusting the plus on the tail here, and while we're here, this is how you adjust your search and your loop, your manual buttons here, and then you can save and load different programs, and your arrows and plus and minus used to change parameters in your program. Well, anyway, we were having some ball faults because the tail was too short, so I increased the tail size a little bit, and I'll continue on doing some more ball bumping. You see, it just creates the ball, places that down, and then the tail is formed, and the EFO1 comes across, sparks, and creates the ball again. This is your ball bumping. Again, here's your manual. If you want to go to manual, you can do it manually by pressing turn the manual on. You have control of your head, and I'll do a couple of manual ball bumps. Take it off manual, go back to semi. And again, I guess the only thing that's left is you're going to receive the work holder here. set at 150 degrees C. Here's your temperature controller here, and you can always change the temperature by just hitting the up or down button here, arrows. See here. So first you gotta hit set, and then you can change your temperature. It's recommended that you operate at 150. And once you're set, good to go. Again here, it'll be explained in the manual that you see, but you have a light button here. You can open and close your clamps. Here's your NEFO. You can turn it on or off. If you're doing some kind of troubleshooting, you can turn it off so that you don't have an error indicator coming up on your when it tries to form a ball. Your manual spark that we discussed before. You have a reset here and a test. You want to see that green light turn on, showing you that your capillary is being tuned to the transducer properly. And then you have a setup here, which is explained in the manual what to do with that. So again, this is just a demonstration to show that it's operational, and this is the KNS 4524D.